Hey everybody, and welcome to our Batman symbol of the Throne with Logic charity. And this hour we have King Crocoduck with us, who's very good YouTube science content provider who has the series The Arrogance of Creationism, which is a very, very good series which I recommend. And my co-host for the hour is Martimer.
Apparently.
What's up, everybody?
I was supposed to be on, but whatever. Clearly someone had a problem, so I have to do this too. No offense to King Crocoduck, it's a lot of work doing this, so yeah. But I'm here.
Okay, so Microbloganism is asking if I have any special privileges as the king of Crocoducks. Yes, I have a harem of lovebirds.
Nothing banana related then.
No. That's, well, we could get into that, but I won't.
Yeah, I just see a connection there, Crocoducks and bananas. I just don't know where that comes from. But
I think it's sleep deprivation, Martimer.
Possibly.
Yeah. Let's see. Bio, who is asking, how often do the creationists invade the 3rd Street Promenade? So, basically a year ago, I started this new video series where I would, confront these creationists in Santa Monica live. And, there's this one dipshit, this guy's name is Lewis, and he's, the most arrogant son of a bitch I ever met. He's the reason I started the YouTube channel in the first place. So, I met him once, we had, a back and forth, it was pretty bad. I met him again, and then, he sort of shut my mic off, and, he wouldn't let me talk anymore. Anyway, that made me pretty mad, so I made this 42-minute video, fucking fundamentalist fucker style, totally just totally ripping him apart. And he hasn't come back to the 3rd Street Promenade since, as far as I'm aware. Just his friends have been going, but he's done. He's not there anymore. Lewis is done.
And I'd imagine at this age, you could almost have the conversation yourself. It could be that predictable. Or have you come across some arguments that you couldn't predict or you just didn't see coming?
All the time, That's the thing about these arguments. You never know what they're going to say next. Well, at least if they're well trained. I mean, the really amateur.
Because to me, it seems like you always know what creationists are going to say next.
Well, it depends on who you're dealing with. If they're particularly well-trained, like Ken Ham, you're not going to know what the next thing he's going to say is. You can probably finish his sentence when he starts it, but before he comes out with that sentence, you don't know. You know what arguments he has in his arsenal, most likely. I predicted several months before the debate actually took place that, he would bring up this historical versus observational science thing. I even posted it on RN Raw's video on the matter. I think it was the top comment had 300 likes or something. But, I nailed it. This guy, he made this video about Bill Nye, 2 years before the debate? And he was just ranting about this historical, observational bullshit. And, it's just, if he starts out talking about that shit, you know how he's going to end it. But you never know exactly how he's going to start it, and that's where the thrill is, for me, at least.
You just don't know the order of the arguments.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you don't know the order of the exact arguments, but you have a pretty good idea what, you can predict the shape of any conversation, You may not know the exact argument, but you can sort of figure that there's a type of argument. First, they're going to start off trying to use science, which they will butcher. And when you counter that, they're going to go with, what do they usually do next?
Science doesn't know everything.
Well, they're going to do try more philosophical stuff. It may be presuppositionalism or something. And then when that fails, they're going to resort to "you're going to hell," or when that fails, that's pretty much when they're going to go with trying to use the Bible to prove the Bible again. They've probably done a few of those in the process. And when that fails, they're going to go with, well, you just have to have faith. And yeah, I'll pray for you.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
And then the final step is declare victory.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta fly away from that shit-covered chessboard. Call yourself the winner. Any questions, anybody? Keep them coming.
Yes, actually, how important do you think YouTube is to skepticism? And how much of the YouTube how much do you think the YouTube skepticism is actually helping in education? Maybe that's a bit of a badly formed sentence or question.
I don't think so.
I understand the question. I think it's doing a tremendous amount, actually. You know, I know people who were really inspired and learned a lot from various YouTubers. I mean, it depends. It depends, I guess, on the scope. You know, when we're talking about international level, it's not really having that much of an effect. But you know, baby steps, right?
And for YouTube, how much do you think for making videos should be how much emphasis are you when you're making your videos is placed in entertainment, and how much is on the actual education and the content? Because for YouTube that kind of media, it's more of edutainment.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it'll depend on the video. I'm doing a bit of both, I guess. You know, every video series has its own special style. You know, back when I was doing the fucking fundamentalist fucker series, it was pretty much just doing living dinosaur style ponage, which, you know, everybody loves that. But you know, for something like the arrogance of creationism, it's more intellectually driven. It's more relaxed, more refined, and there are people who like that style more. So, I don't know, I guess it comes down to a matter of personal taste. My channel offers a lot of variety for that sort of thing. You know, some playlists are more fun, some more intellectual. I don't know, there's something for everybody on my channel.
I tend to agree with that. I like doing phonage. You know, I like trying to squeeze in jokes wherever I can, but sometimes I want to do something more highbrow. So yeah.
Which do you think which videos do you think are making more impact? The ones that are more entertaining, or the ones that are filled with more that are more intellectual? Like, are Ponish videos more beneficial than intellectual videos, or do they both have are they both equal?
Well, I think I would like to place a heavier emphasis on intellectual videos. I'm actually going to be coming out with a new series explaining like the bare bone basics of quantum mechanics. You know, I'm not going to go into like Hermitian operators or bracket notation or like Born's matrix model or anything like that. Just going to, you know, try to do some basic wave equation stuff. But that would be more of the intellectually driven stuff that I'm trying to introduce to the channel. But I will still occasionally be poning people. You know, I like to have a little variety. I like to have everything for everyone. I don't know. I wouldn't say one is more important than the other. You know, you gotta have art and education mixed together in order for this sort of thing to be successful.
Exactly. You gain attention by being entertaining.
Yeah.
When you have people's attention, you can start toning down the entertainment stuff and be just educational. But you can't. You don't want to bore the audience. YouTube is not something that you can't treat it like a classroom, because the audience can just click on something else if they get bored, they're not even going to finish watching the video.
Definitely.
So you need to keep up the entertainment value as well.
Yeah. And some of these arguments you can't really address seriously. The best way to do is just through ridicule, like
Space Jews.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you respond seriously to that? No, look, here's a DNA sample from a Jew. What? I mean, come on, we can't do that.
Yeah, space Jews. That's pretty ridiculous shit. Did you get that link I sent you? It's you should use it in a future video. It's have you seen History of the World Part 1?
Oh yeah, I'm very familiar with that one. The problem is it would get flagged.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
I've stopped using movie clips. That was a long time since I did that. Because they get content ID hits.
Somebody asked me why I left the 9/11 truther movement. I grew up. That's the short answer.
And just at this moment, I just want to remind people that yes, we are still receiving donations, so please do donate because we're only $5 away from 2,800.
So does anybody have any physics questions or anything? Anything dealing with particle physics or cosmology? I'd be particularly interested to answer.
While we're waiting for that, someone's asking your thoughts about the Amazing Atheist and his rants.
I'm not the biggest fan. I mean, I don't hate the guy. It's just, he's not my favorite.
Yeah.
That's all I can really say.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing. I was subscribed to him long ago, but I just got really bored with his content because it was just rants and there was really nothing from it, nothing. I can see the appeal for a lot of people. It's not appealing to me.
I'd be the same. It's just not my cup of tea, really. At the end of the day, I haven't really been keeping up with them, so I can't really comment.
Oh well, there's a question for you. Can you explain why some particles can pop into existence just randomly?
Sure. Ultimately, this can boil down to the uncertainty principle and a subset of it called the time-energy uncertainty principle. And there's this thing called the annihilation operator, and there are symmetries that go backwards in time. I'm sort of thinking about making a whole video devoted to it. It's not really the sort of thing that I can give an easy answer to. I don't know. I guess as long as the energy is there, as long as energy is conserved, it's fair game. That's sort of the simple answer.
Yeah, and then there's the issue of you may object to the phrasing here, but the idea of borrowing energy from the future, which is a horrible way of phrasing it. But there are situations when you can have these apparent violations of energy conservation.
Yeah. Beau was asking me what math courses I'm taking right now. Right now, I'm actually not doing any math. I'm just doing physics over the summer. But I will be getting into group theory. I'm also going to be trying to do differential geometry, non-Euclidean geometry, and topology. That's sort of the plan.
That is nasty shit.
Yeah, I really like general relativity, though. I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. It's just that I don't have. I guess I don't have the proper background math courses. So when I'm getting. It's like I feel like every now and then there's something I'm missing. and I have to look a lot of shit up, and it gets annoying. But I think I'm getting the hang of the basics anyway.
Right on. Yeah, I just finished what I guess you could call baby math. Multivariable calc I've been done with for about a year. I finished more recently with non-homogeneous partial differential equations, so that was cool. And I also did complex analysis. That was pretty fun.
I've barely touched that stuff because I really don't need it as a teacher. But I feel that I need it when I'm looking into quantum mechanics, just because I want to. So I have sort of looked into it, but I haven't really done a lot of work in it.
You're a teacher, right?
Yeah.
Where do you teach? Is it like where do you teach?
High school.
Right on.
I don't want to go into more specific details, but
that's cool. I totally understand.
But high school math and physics.
Nice. I have a feeling you'd be a really cool teacher.
Thank you. Some students like me, some students really hate me. I guess it depends on... I think I'm sort of an acquired taste. Like, if you're interested in what I'm saying, then people can be really inspired by what I'm saying. But if you're not on board to begin with, I guess I can... It's very easy not to like me, I guess. I don't know. Oh, well.
Let's see.
My students tend to do pretty well anyway, so...
Crocoduck, what do you think about the recent data for Kepler, especially regarding the distribution of planetary systems in the galaxy? Do you think we are less likely to see planetary systems and habitable planetary systems at certain points in the galaxy, such as closer to the center or further out? I sort of have a confession to make. I really don't care as much as most people about like life at other parts of the universe. It's not really my cup of tea, so I hardly know anything about the Kepler data. My main thing is sort of like particle physics and cosmology. So I don't know. Can't really tell you much about that.
Yes, Pollexter, I am a teacher, and no, the faculty does not know about my videos because, well, for one, I don't use my real name, so it would be a hell of a coincidence if they found my videos. Basically, they need to be watching that type of videos in order to find them. But another thing is, what I do in my spare time is kind of my own business. But I do try to keep, that's the reason why I try to keep PG-13, no excessive swearing and stuff like that. I get that my content might be considered offensive to some, but that's I can't see it being a problem really. But it's not something I go around advertising in school, if I put it that way. I mean, what I do in my spare time, that's my business.
You're a lot nicer than I am, at any rate.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't cuss people out and stuff like that. I dissect messages, not people.
Yeah, I respect that.
Where does the name Mortimer come from? No, it's made up. My real name is a variation of Marty. I'm not going to be more precise than that.
Is King Venom Fang? I always get asked this because my voice is identical to Venom Fang X's. You got me, dude. I am Venom Fang X's alter ego. Yeah. Sorry to disappoint.
No, Pollux, there's really not a chance of getting fired because I'm not breaking any rules.
Yeah.
I have never signed any kind of contract saying that I will not express my opinions in a public forum or anything like that. So there's really no legal way they could fire me for it. If I express things like racist views, for example, then it's a different story, because then you can make the case that I'm sort of promoting things that are incompatible with being a teacher. But I don't address stuff like that. I don't even address politics. I'm promoting science and making fun of idiots who oppose science, and I'm only being a douche to people who are saying stupid things in public. And if you say something in public, what you say is open to criticism. It's that simple.
Yeah. So, questions, people. You're all being very quiet.
And please, questions for King Crocoduck, not just for me.
And give money, people. There's
yes,
poor ass people. Come on. Got my family to contribute $91 to this. Let's go.
Any chance of a massive collaboration video? Possibly. It's hard to organize. It's really hard to organize because it needs to be a subject that people can actually cooperate with. If very often it turns out that one person knows a hell of a lot about something, and then he'll do that. But I'm sure I'm open to cooperating with others. I'm sure you are. I'm sure others are. I mean, we did the whole cross-channel promotion thing.
Mm-hmm. That was really hard, and that was just super basic.
Yeah. It took a lot of work to get everyone's contributions in and stuff like that. So collaborations are difficult.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd be down to do like a tag team thing in the future, though.
Yeah, sure. It just needs to be an appropriate subject. That's the hard part.
Yeah, and it has to be like well organized.
Yeah.
What's your take on the Higgs? Is it not quite what we expected? It now pointing to new, blah blah blah. Yeah. From what I hear, there's really nothing surprising about the Higgs other than the fact that it works so well. It's a bit of a disappointment.
The shock is that we were spot on.
Yeah. I mean, like, here's the thing. I think the most recently discovered quark was Charm. Am I right? Was it Charm? Wait, no, Top. Top or... I don't know. It was either Top or Bottom.
I can't remember.
Okay, it was either Top or Bottom. Basically, it works like this. You have the standard model of physics, which is derived basically from things like... Well, I mean, there's a lot of symmetry involved, but at the most fundamental level, we can think of it as falling out of quantum mechanics. And we were able to predict, 3 generations of particles. We were more or less spot on about that. And then we tried playing around with symmetry breaking, and then the Higgs boson fell out of that. And things like supersymmetry also fell out of that. But we don't have any evidence for supersymmetry yet, and it's looking pretty bad for that, actually. I actually talked with some staff over at my university who work at the Large Hadron Collider. One of them actually was the one who made the announcement for the Higgs boson. But, things are looking pretty bad for supersymmetry, so it's not looking so good. Things are pretty boring right now. We were hoping for something more exciting, but I mean, they're gonna turn on the Large Hadron Collider again. It's gonna be stronger. Maybe something more interesting will fall out. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Someone said something. What's the most blatantly stupid thing you heard on the topic of physics?
Anything Deepak Chopra said.
That's not physics.
Just today, actually. It happened, like, earlier today. Quantum jumping. Have you ever heard of that?
Context.
Okay, so it's another form of quantum woo.
Yeah.
Basically, the proponents say that there are like an infinite number of universes and an infinite number of different versions of you, and you can use your consciousness to communicate with these other versions of you for like advice. Because like you're all existing in superposition or some crap like that. So, yeah, that was not okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty gross misunderstanding of the many worlds interpretation.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You're a proponent of many worlds, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think it's the simplest one.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm advanced enough to like have my own opinion, since like the only one I've been introduced to was Copenhagen.
Yeah.
But
yeah, well, I've never actually, done any mathematical work that involves it. It's more like thinking about the implications of, what makes more sense to me, essentially. Many worlds for dummies, please. Okay, basically what it has to do with is, and this is not formally correct, by the way, but I think it's the simplest way to explain it. Assume that for everything that can, any event that can have many different outcomes, assume that they all happen in different universes. So that anything that can happen does happen. It's just that we only see one of those options because, well, we end up in one of those universes. If you make that assumption, and that's not really the fundamental assumption, but forget that. If you make that assumption, what you end up with is it solves a lot of mathematical problems regarding, well, not mathematical problems, but it solves problems regarding the whole wave theory, wave function thing. You can get rid of the notion of wave function collapse, which is a bit of a bitch to explain. So I can
give a quick rundown, if that's all right.
Yeah.
All right. So, wave function collapse, common phrase in quantum mechanics. Basically, when you're not looking at it, it behaves one way, and when you measure it, it behaves differently than when you weren't looking at it. Then you look away, it behaves normally, then you look back at it, and it collapses. That's basically that in a nutshell.
And I want to add that it's not looking at it; it's interacting with it.
Yeah, measure. Yeah,
by looking at it, that's the everyday way of saying measurement, which is simply an interaction that can have different outcomes depending on what properties are involved.
Yeah, a bit too colloquial. My bad.
Yeah, no, but the colloquial way is usually okay if you're not worried about woo peddlers listening to you.
Yeah, I think everyone in here is okay though. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, I have to do a favor for this guy. Unfortunately for you, however. That's one of my catchphrases. The other one is file that under shit I already said. Need to use that on Ray next time we meet.
Microblogging is what would determine which world you end up in, and then Marai says nothing determines what world you end up in. It's that you realize which world you are in. Yeah. You're the guy in the world where you're doing the measurement. You're actually in all the worlds. But in the one where you're doing this particular measurement and which has this particular outcome, well, that's the world you're in. Duh. Because otherwise you wouldn't be getting that outcome. So you're in all of them.
Marai Ziller is asking, what else can do what supersymmetry promised to do if that doesn't match reality? Well, it's an interesting question.
Back to the
I
drawing
guess,
board.
yeah. I guess the easiest answer would be string theory, but that's sort of a bad answer because we're really fucking far away from being able to test that. I mean, we're talking about 10 to the 19th giga electron volt of energy. You know, this is some serious shit. We're talking about like an atom smasher the diameter of Jupiter. You know, we're not even close to being able to test this shit. But
Yeah, but I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but there have been these ideas. I don't know how feasible they are today, but the idea of building some sort of network of satellites that could sort of shoot particles, like, so you can have this big ass particle collider in space.
that's interesting.
I have no idea if it's even on the drawing board, if it's like just someone had an idea, but I heard about it, and yeah, something like that would probably be necessary to get that kind of energy.
Yeah. Anyway, just a quick rundown of what supersymmetry is. Basically, the standard model of physics can be divided into two main portions. There's this intrinsic property of a subatomic particle called spin, and it's this sort of, I guess you could think of it as the analog of the Earth spinning while it orbits around the sun. That's not exactly how it is, but it's a helpful analogy. And there's a certain value associated with the type of spin that a particle has. So it either has a spin value of plus or minus 1/2, or it has an integer value, so like 0, 1, 2, 3. If it has an integer value, it's a boson, and if it has a 1/2 value, it's called a fermion. So basically what supersymmetry proposes is that there are superpartners of these particles. So a boson could have, you know, a boson like the photon has spin of, is it 0 or 1 or 2? I think it has 0. I don't know.
I can't remember.
Yeah, whatever the spin for a photon is, I think it's 0. You know, there's what supersymmetry basically proposes is that there's a fermion equivalent of this boson. So there's something with all the properties of a photon, except it has a spin value of 1/2, making it a fermion. And it's they call it the photino, and they have these really lame names: the Wino, the Zeno, the Gluino, and basically all these superpartners whose only difference from their regular partners is their spin value. And if it turns out that supersymmetry does not work, then particle physics is going to be 30 years behind, and it's not going to be fun.
Or it is going to be really fun, because that means new ideas will come around. You know, science moves forward when we find out that we were wrong about something.
That's true, but I mean...
but the question is, now what, you know?
Yeah.
That is a bit of a problem.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's good to keep a positive attitude about this sort of thing, but, you know, if you've been, like, sort of putting all of your eggs in this supersymmetry basket for the past 30 years, you're probably going to have a bad time.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we'll move on. It's all good.
Yeah, but, you know, like we were talking about the Higgs boson earlier, I mean, there were people who were basically hoping that it wouldn't be what we expected it to be, because that would lead to much more fun science, basically. And it's kind of a disappointment to find out that you were spot on, pretty much anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. When I find out that I got a homework problem right, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, homework is a bit different though, because then you just want to get it done with.
Yeah.
Maybe in that universe, what the hell is it? Oh, are they talking about like the mirror universe where Matt Dillahunty is a fundamentalist? Okay, that would be awesome.
And then you like put the regular
and Ray Comfort is an atheist. Yeah.
Oh God. Jesus, I don't even know, dude.
In that
sounds
universe,
like a bad episode of The Twilight Zone.
Yeah, in that universe, fundies would definitely rule the world.
How much would you say geometry underlies physics? Well, that is an interesting question. I suppose it depends on the type of physics we're dealing with. In the classical, part of physics, geometry is super important. But when we're talking about quantum mechanics, we're actually dealing with these really abstract things, these vector spaces, which sort of like the best way to think about them is without resolving them into bases, without actually, thinking about them in terms of shapes, I guess, and just think about them as things living in a complex vector space. I mean,
okay. For people who don't know about this, because vector space sounds like something geometric, it's basically just you take the mathematical concept of a vector, but it's a completely different application of it. So this is a completely abstract type of vectors where you don't see a vector as something that has a direction. You see it as a list of numbers.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the best way to describe a vector space would be in terms of the axioms,
right?
The associativity, the commutativity, scalar distributivity, and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But when we're talking about really large scales, like general relativity, then geometry and topology, non-Euclidean geometry, that becomes super important. So it's actually interesting. It's actually interesting when we think about how important geometry is when we change scales.
Right. I mean, general relativity is pretty much all about geometry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look, if you have Einstein's field equation, I mean, on one side you have the energy content. On the other side, you have the geometry of the space that contains this energy, or space-time rather, that contains this energy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an essential part of it.
Let's see, what else we got here? Ask those questions, make those donations.
Right, where are the donations going? Come on, people. You need to
2805? Come on.
We can make 2,900.
Exactly.
Yeah, come on. Well, we need to get up. No, we're going to break 3,000. Come on.
Yeah, totally.
We can definitely do that.
You have the power.
At the very least, ask a physics question. These are good questions, guys.
Yeah. Wait, there was one up there. Something about gravity. Is there a spectrum of the potential of life where life is impossible with no gravity or near? Okay, I think I'd like to rephrase the question. How does life depend on gravity? And my answer would be barely. It depends on what kind of life we're talking about. Microorganisms don't really give a damn about gravity.
Yeah.
But then they wouldn't really come into existence if there was no planet for them to form on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or if there's no atmosphere, to be trapped by the gravity.
So yeah, you do need gravity, but how much? Well, very little. There's an upper limit, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Gravity is super.
Yeah. Sorry.
Gravity's super weak anyway. It's the weakest of the fundamental forces. I mean, as far as the universe is concerned, at local scales, who cares about gravity?
Yeah. That's actually an interesting thing. It would be interesting to calculate if we just had a hypothetical universe here, get rid of gravity. Of course, that would lead to all sorts of crap once if we start thinking general relativity instead of Newtonian gravity. But let's ignore reality for a while here.
It would make physics a lot easier because then we would already have our theory of everything.
Right. But let's say we did that. How would could planets form some other way than through gravity, like electromagnetic attraction? I mean, if you eliminate gravity as the dominant force at large scales, could electromagnetic attraction over insane amounts of time result in something planet-like forming somewhere in the universe?
Yeah, Gauss's law says so. I mean,
the problem is that at large scales, positive and negative charges tend to cancel out. But then again, you have an entire universe, so maybe somewhere
yeah.
it could happen just by pure dumb luck. I mean, it should happen if the universe is infinite.
Just to answer microorganism's question, as far as I'm aware of, there are no microbes that will orient themselves according to gravity. Well, at least in as far as in addition to just settling down. But there are microorganisms that can orient themselves to the Earth's magnetic field. These are known as magnetotactic bacteria. They form magnetite nanoparticles within their cellular space, within their cytosol, in little organelles called magnetosomes, and that helps them find oxygen limited environments. Sorry, I saw a slightly biological question and I just had to jump on it.
No, that's really interesting.
So you're saying that pure dumb luck happens and this whole thing is a mistake that just happened? No, it wouldn't be. Pure dumb luck would happen if you have enough attempts. Keep drawing 5-card hands, shovel properly. Eventually, you are going to draw a royal straight flush. Yeah, you're going to do that. It's only a matter of how long you keep trying. And on that particular attempt, yes, it is pure dumb luck.
Michael, you killing somebody over there?
Sorry, I just had to plug in my laptop again.
And you had to redecorate your entire room for that, or what?
Okay.
You had to bust down a wall because the plug is on the other side of the wall, or?
Yep. It was the most efficient way of doing things.
Yeah. Let's ask some questions, people. We got some interesting conversations going.
Yeah.
Yes, we know Biohu. Biohu.
Is that like the infinite monkeys writing works of literature? Kind of. Pretty much. Yeah. Once you start thinking in terms of an infinite number of them as opposed to a very big number of them, statistics basically goes out the window and anything that is possible becomes necessary. Of course, then we have the problem of dealing with infinity, which is something that people just don't get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that it was a typical creationist dumb argument where if it's not by God's design, then it's necessarily by random whatever. I got that.
This talk of statistics and infinities is getting me thinking about the normalization condition, where the probability of finding a particle somewhere is 1.
Yeah. That's right.
What mathematical principles? Yeah. What mathematical principles would you recommend learning to get a head start at a physics degree? Okay. Learn the shit out of calculus.
Mm-hmm. Linear algebra.
Linear algebra is a good idea. Get ahead. And that'll get you well prepared to start doing differential equations, which are super important. But mainly, I would say calculus, and especially multivariable calculus. That becomes super important in electromagnetism.
Yeah. And that's also something that a lot of people have a hard time with, because it's sort of it's like a threshold. You really need to get over it. And
the math,
a lot of people,
or the math in general, or just
multivariable calculus. I mean,
that's my favorite though. I love that.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. It wasn't my favorite math course, but a lot of people flunked those tests. At least in Sweden, I don't know if it's the exact same content everywhere, but we had a lot of people who failed that, and it was like, the big tough hurdle you have to get across because it is absolutely necessary.
Yeah, directional derivatives, gradients, curls, fluxes.
Yeah.
So yeah, learn the shit out of calculus. That's my biggest recommendation. And linear algebra too, if you can do that before college.
Yeah, that was something I found. I was surprised by that when I got into college, because it was like a completely new area of mathematics that I had no experience with, and I thought that sucked.
Yeah,
it was a fun part of math, though.
It was a bit different for me. I was actually pretty disappointed. 1 minute I'm doing derivatives and integrals in high school. I get into college and I'm doing algebra again. It's like, okay, this is not fun.
It feels like a step backward, yeah. But then I had a similar experience, but it was. Then I realized how much more in depth it gets in college, and I actually started enjoying it.
Yeah, I started to really enjoy linear algebra when I began learning the bracket notation.
Mm-hmm.
Bracket. Haha, Iraq.
Yeah.
Casey, are there any new YouTube channels that have caught your attention lately? Yes, Armored Skeptic. I like that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. There's some other new ones that not many people have subscribed to. The Global Atheism.
Never heard of, but it sounds like something that might be worth checking out.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Atheist Minority. She's awesome. She's this black atheist chick, and we don't get too many of those. So, also she's really intelligent.
Creationist Cat. Yeah, he's funny. He's not new though.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a question. The furthest galaxy we can see is about 14 billion light years away from us. Yeah, let's not go into that. But I get your point. If I was on that galaxy looking 180 degrees away from our galaxy, what would I see? I'll let you go first.
I guess the easy answer would be everything that's inside of your cosmic horizon.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that's 14 or 13.8 billion light years away. Including maybe stuff we couldn't see. I guess that's how I would put it.
Yeah. You'd see more universe, but you'd be seeing the part of the universe that is beyond our horizon. Things seem to be pointing in the direction that the universe is actually infinite. It's our observable universe that is limited. Although we can't be absolutely sure that the universe is infinite, but it seems that way.
Yeah. We look.
At least it contains a hell of a lot more than what we can see.
Yeah. It looks pretty flat. At most, it's a de Sitter geometry, but
right.
Yeah.
it could be closed, but with very, very low curvature.
Yeah. For the most part, though, that's sort of been abandoned. It's not the most parsimonious explanation right now.
Right.
But who knows? It would be nice to have a closed universe. Make everything a lot easier.
Yeah.
Well, not really.
From the point of view of some theories, but although I don't know if I want to call those theories.
Yeah.
Do you understand quantum mechanics? Someone asks.
Oh God, no.
I'll answer that. Richard Feynman is famous for saying that if you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand it well enough.
I have the exact same answer in mind. No one understands quantum mechanics. What we can do is we can do some calculations that have to do with it and make accurate predictions. But as for why are those predictions accurate? Why does the universe behave this way? Not a goddamn clue.
I can tell you intuitively, like I can understand intuitively why a rock falls to the ground, without even bringing any equations of motion into the picture. But I can't conceptualize intuitively an electron changing energy levels. Mm-hmm. That's just not something, we our minds didn't develop on that plane,
exactly.
so to speak.
Oliver, I have just a quick question. Apart from quantum mechanics, is nanotechnology the most abused physics concept or physics topic in the pop culture?
Well, I guess it's more forgivable. Nanotechnology is, still in its infancy. And I don't really have as close a relationship with condensed matter physics as I do with quantum mechanics. So, I don't know. For me personally, I don't mind as much. But quantum woo does piss me off.
Same here.
This guy's asking, I guess a more appropriate question is, do you understand the math behind quantum mechanics?
Nope.
I'll put it to you this way. There are different levels of understanding quantum mechanics. There's baby quantum mechanics, there's beginner's quantum mechanics, intermediate quantum mechanics, which I guess is where I'm at right now, advanced quantum mechanics, which is sort of like where quantum field theory starts to get in, and then there's like Jedi quantum mechanics. So, but even the Jedis of physics, they still don't have full control over the Force, so to speak.
Yeah, and I guess I'm not sure if I'm on the same level as you are. I mean, I haven't taken. You've definitely taken more courses than I have. My understanding is not as deep, I guess you could say, because I don't actually work on solving textbook problems. It's more learning about it so that I can explain it to a lay audience. I have no real intention of using quantum mechanics the way I'm sure you will. But yeah, like you said, there are different levels of understanding, and when it comes to the math, yes, I do have a basic understanding of it.
Theo, who is asking, I thought the curvature question was solved. No questions
really.
are solved. Let's see.
It's solved to the extent that we can say that a flat universe would be the simplest explanation based on the evidence available at this time.
Yeah. Okay. So we have 2 minutes left. I think there's time for maybe one more question.
Yeah.
Solve the Schrödinger equation for a hydrogen atom. You have 2 minutes left. Go, go, go. Okay.
3.
Question. Have you ever used regex to solve a problem? And if so, did you have 2 problems? No, I don't even know what regex is.
Me neither.
How many times can... Let's see. No. Come on. Let's have a good question. No? No one? Okay, well, I'm going to leave my link inside of the comments. Check out my channel, subscribe to it, and, yeah, I look forward to making that series on quantum mechanics. Hopefully you guys will like it.
I'm sure we will.
Right then. So, yeah, and donate, people. I've only made $10 plus the 91 that my family donated, but that doesn't really count, I guess. So, like, yeah.
Donate. We're so close to $3,000.
Yeah, we need to break 3,000.
We need to get 3,000. Let's do this. Anyway, I guess I'll see you all later.
Yep.
Guys, is Travis Simmons.